The title, long-term review, gets thrown around far too easily. I've watched long-term reviews that claim 10,000 miles or less is long enough to make fair claim of that title. The truth is that it is not nearly long enough to fairly claim what true long-term reliability is of this British masterpiece. With the tens of thousands of miles, I now understand and love the mystique and reliability of the British Twin. I have journeyed over 80,000 miles. That's over 3 times the circumference of the globe on my little Triumph Bonneville T120. If I were to follow the lead of others with my claimant of long-term ownership with less than 20,000 miles, I would have been most disappointed. However, the last 60,000 miles I have traversed over these past couple of years have been the most enjoyable of my life. All thanks to my British twin, the Triumph Bonneville T120. The heritage of the Bonneville speaks for itself and lies in its namesake, adapting its name from the Bonneville Salt Flats. The T120 represents top speed of 120 miles per hour. Now, the Bonneville is relic to those claims, and time has produced more thrilling and exotic motorcycles. However, the charm of the Bonneville has remained all through the generations. Today, as a millennial as myself, can say I was and still am seduced by the beauty and utilitarianism of this motorcycle. The Bonneville remains timeless and is a testament to the Triumph brand. Heritage is important, so is ingenuity. Triumph has found the balance between the two. The real jewel of this motorcycle is undoubtedly the inline 2-cylinder engine, displacing 1200 cc's. This modern 8-valve engine is cloaked in regalia of times past. Don't be fooled, as the engine is anything but archaic. Sporting a 6-speed transmission and water cooling, it leaves nostalgia at the driveway as soon as you pull it out. The fuel injection is by far the best I've ridden in a motorcycle to date. The engine is eager in spirited rides, but can be your crutch when you need it on the longest of tours. The Bonneville is characterized by its punchy yet refined 2-cylinder engine. The bike wouldn't be great if the engine wasn't great. If I was only allowed to use one word to describe the motor, loyal would be it. It will unquestionably do as you ask of it, and will never let you down. As stated earlier, I would have given an unfair review if I followed lead like the others, and made the claimant of long term at 10,000 miles. Heck, that would still be false if I made the claim at 20,000 miles. The first year, or 20,000 miles, was indeed a challenging year. I ran into a radiator failure within the first few months of ownership. I also experienced the gear selector failure, in which I had to repair out of a shop hundreds of miles from my dooryard. The most recent and nearly last straw was the destruction of 6th gear. I do have to note, the Triumph Motor Company stood behind the bike every step of the way. The first year, or 20,000 miles, was most challenging. But the Bonneville never let me down, and never left me stranded. Even severely wounded, it got me home. And in that, it owns great stock for reliability in my mind and in my heart. We can't talk about long-term reviews unless we talk about maintenance. The cost of ownership is surprisingly low. I've moved to 5,000-mile oil changes per Triumph's request, but swap oil filters every 10,000 miles. I've performed 4 valve checks, and only after the first was an adjustment required. Chain and sprockets last around 20 to 25,000 miles, and I'm on my 4th set of final drive. Coolant and brake fluid is done annually. Might be a bit much, but this past season I put over 35,000 miles, and find doing these fluid swaps is essential to my ease of mind. Also, repacking the head bearing annually should be added to any maintenance regiment. I find they tend to dry out after the many miles through all types of weather and temperaments. so please keep an eye out. Mileage is at 55 miles per gallon. It fluctuates with setup and temperature, but it generally is at rock solid 55. Pads are definitely an annual in the front and generally need replacement more so in the rear, around 10,000 miles. Also, the ABS sensors seem to be a consumable item on this motorcycle. I was experiencing intermittent ABS issues that only were resolved after replacing both ABS sensors. I am still on the stock battery. Tires also fare pretty well on this machine. The rear lasts about 8 to 12,000 miles and the front will last double that, generally. It's fair to note that my motorcycle is not stock. From front to back, you'll see my first modification was my front wheel conversion. I'm sporting a 17-inch front alloy lightweight rim from a Suzuki GS 500. I also paired this with lightweight floating rotors from a Bandit 1200, which also increased braking performance. I also swapped the rear rim for a lightweight alloy rim from a Street Twin. The reduction in weight made the bike substantially quicker and handle far better. The main reason I went to the alloy conversion was it did away with the dreadful tubes, which are the ultimate joy kill when left with a simple puncture on the side of the road. I also installed pod filters and a Delcovic exhaust system from a bobber. This was all complemented by a DNK tube. Danielle from DNK is an exceptional tuner, and I highly recommend her product to anyone looking to juice up their T120. I have fitted touring accessories that help lengthen my already short riding season here in New England. Cruise control was fitted from the factory, and by far it is the best modification I've done. Overall, I have to say the Bonneville is one of my most cherished motorcycles I've ever owned. I don't have the heart to sell or trade it. It was the altar at my wedding. It really objectifies what my lifestyle is all about. Basic, well-rounded, beautiful, functional, purposeful, loyal, integral. All virtues are embodied by the Bonneville, all proven through the hardship of daily use I ask of it. To say I love my motorcycle isn't like putting the finger down on what it does for me. It becomes a perfect extension. Its virtues are the ones I strive for in my daily life, and as I ride, I am reminded to strive as hard as my little Triumph does every day to achieve these virtues. I turn the key and ask for its service, and it happily obliges. The motorcycle is by far one of the best motorcycles on the market because of not just what it does, but what it represents. In conclusion, if you're looking for a soul-enriching experience, there is no doubt that the Triumph Motor Company nailed it with a new variant of the Bonneville T120. Iconically stunning, it's not moving past its heritage, but moving forward with it. A technique other companies have failed to do successfully and has either left them with obsolete rubbish or soulless wizardry. The Bonneville embraces the core value of any motorcyclist and reminds the rider of the past, but perpetuates the future while retaining its core values. Basic, well-rounded, beautiful, functional, purposeful, loyal, and integral. If you want to have a fun but yet mediocre riding experience, go out and buy any motorcycle. Want an authentic, pure, soulful, and true experience? That can only truly be found when you ride a Bonneville. Best.